Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson. Thank you for joining us. We are downtown broadcasting and telecasting from the beautiful lobby of the Fairfield Federal. They give us a little corner over here. We're very fortunate each week to be allowed to come in here, and we thank them and everybody here for allowing us to just broadcast from here. It's a real blessing to be in this location right downtown where everything is always happening around Lancaster and Fairfield County. And the event we're going to talk about now, that truly is just happening out our front window. September 10th, the Corvette show, and man, everybody's eyes just enlarge when you say Corvette show, when you talk about what goes on here with the Corvettes. And the guy to talk about it is the president of the Alliance around here, Dan Singer, always our guy to talk about Corvettes. Dan, welcome.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
I mean, if people have never seen what Main Street right out our front window here looks like on September 10th, it's an eye-popping moment.
It's incredible as far as I'm concerned. We typically have somewhere between 300 and 500 Corvettes here at the same time, and we have a few aftermarket vendors, as well as we have food service, and most of the restaurants are open downtown, including the Glass Museum. And so it makes it really nice for people because they can come in. Many times the fellows have more interest than the wives, and many times, though, it's the reverse of that. So the situation is that the other person can go shopping and go eat if they want, or both of them go eat. It's just, there's a lot of things to do. I think that's my point.
15 to 20 years we've been doing this?
This is 18.
18, so we're right in the wheelhouse there.
Yes, sir.
And I would imagine that you, talking about what's open down here now, and back when you started this, Lancaster wasn't doing as well downtown 15, 20 years ago. There wasn't as many restaurants, there weren't many things open on a Sunday, and now when people come here, like you say, there's lots of opportunities. They can park their car and they don't have to go anywhere.
Right, and that's the nice thing. Main Street is blocked from High Street to Memorial Drive, and then Broad Street is blocked from Wheeling down to Chestnut, and then Walnut, or not Walnut, but Columbus Street is blocked the same way. So we typically have vehicles from High Street to Memorial Drive, and so it makes it really nice. And what we do is this is an unjudged event. We do have a plaque that we give to each one of the people that come in, and it's $15, and it's just, there's a lot of camaraderie and socialization with the people.
This is from last year's event, and it will be similar to this.
Yes,
My
sir.
dad would say same thing, only different?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, same thing, only different. But there'll be a 2023 event, and it's just remarkable. There's always a shot up there, you're shooting down and you see all the hoods up, all the trunks probably up too. It's just, and I'll say this for you, there aren't many things that the Lancaster downtown gets blocked off for. I'd say Friday night art walk and your event may be the only two I can think of.
Yes, there are not many, and when we put this idea together, we had Mayor Dave Smith and the Service Safety Director, Lindy Jackson, that group, and it has just continued with Mayor Scheffler and Paul Martin, the Service Safety Director, and so we're really excited about doing it downtown. And the idea was to bring business downtown, and to let people enjoy the cars, and the people that own the cars could enjoy other cars.
Yeah, like you say, it's not a judged event. It's just the camaraderie, the fellowship that comes with all your Corvette people, plus all the friends you make.
Yes.
People coming down to see this for no charge.
Yes, it is, and we do we have some vendors from some parts vendors that actually have a variety of different Corvette parts, and it's not a swap meet or anything of that nature, but we do have a few vendors like that.
not a flea market.
No, not at all. Not at all. And nothing wrong with flea markets,
No.
but we just typically don't do that.
I got you.
And what we've developed a variety of Corvette clubs that participate.
This is the Corvette Alliance.
Yes, and form the Alliance. We have 7 clubs that do that. And then we actually have clubs from Buffalo, New York, Pennsylvania, and all the surrounding states. Some of them as far away as Arkansas and places like Chicago. And so it's just a nice thing. And we have, the show has grown to the point where a variety of the people will come in on Friday night, and so it helps the hotels. And then on Saturday, we actually do a road tour where we meet at the Chevrolet dealership at Hugh White, and they've been a major sponsor in this most of the time that we've done it. And then we actually feed them lunch and do a road tour for about 3 hours. And I realize they've driven in and things like that, but it just gives them some of the sites that they probably wouldn't see, like Rock Mill and places like that. And then we come back, they can take a break, and then we have a board meeting and then a wine and cheese reception for the evening, where people can again visit and camaraderie again, and it just works out really nice. And then we get ready for the show on Sunday.
When you look at this over 18 years, and you've of course been here from the get-go on this, it's evolved into the event that it is now. But when you started out many years ago, how many Corvettes would you have in the early years?
Anywhere from 100 to 200 to start when we started, and it has grown significantly now. And what we do is we work with the Holiday Inn Express and just other holiday or
I was going to say, I bet
hotels.
Around the county and everybody
Yes.
gets a little bit of this.
Yes, they do, and we have people that stay as far away as the Canal Winchester hotels, and we have the bed tax, which helps the community, and there's just a variety of things that we wanted to make sure and do that would help everybody.
And like you say, kind of takes a village situation here. The sheriff, the police department, the city government here, the county was involved because you're around in the county. I mean, everybody really pulls together to make this come off.
They really do. And one of the things that we started doing back actually during the 9/11 thing was we donate $500 to the police department and $500 to the fire department, so that that's a non-budgeted item, and so they can buy whatever extras that they wouldn't typically be able to buy out of their budget. So it's not a lot of money for them, but it's something that would help them to do things.
So it's coming up here, a week and a half or so, a couple weeks away, September 10th, Sunday. What time do the hoods pop up here on Main Street?
Typically around 7 o'clock, but the
7 a.m.?
Yes.
Wow.
And what we do is the street department blocks the streets at 5:30 for us, and so we actually start setting up then, and we have people coming in at 6:30, but 7 o'clock there's a lot of people here. By 10 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty well populated, the downtown, and then that finishes up around noon. As far as people coming in, and then we just go on from there till about 3 o'clock.
And I'm sure you have a number of drivers that have done this for many years. Some, I'm sure you have new people every year because
Yes.
people are always changing Corvettes, new ones, getting different ones, and doing that. But I'm sure they enjoy just sitting there talking to each other in the club, people they haven't maybe seen, some of them,
Yes.
for a year.
Right.
And then they've got all their friends and other people who, there's nothing more interesting, I think, than looking at a Corvette. It is a remarkable car.
I believe so too, and what we're seeing is that many of the people, or the high majority of the people now, are driving the newer cars because they have all the creature comforts, so they can come in from a further distance rather than trying to drive an older one that doesn't have air conditioning
Sure.
and things like that.
Sure.
But we still do have some of those cars, but not nearly as many as we used to.
It's just an amazing event to do this, and I know the people in your club, how much they enjoy putting this on, and you yourself, how much you enjoy kind of giving back to the community. The website is...
That is...
throw you a curveball.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can just search Lancaster Corvette Club.
Yes, Corvettes of Lancaster is the best place to look.
Dan Singer with us, and good luck on this. Hope for a perfect day like this. That'd be wonderful. Enjoy it. Nice weekend set out. Sunday will be amazing here. September 10th.
Yes.
All day, pretty much till what, 3 o'clock?
Yes. Now, don't forget Saturday. That's our road tour day.
Yeah.
So that'd be September 9th.
You see a lot of Corvettes moving around that day, too.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
You do.
Dan Singer with us, Corvette Show of Lancaster, Ohio. We'll be back in a moment.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference. Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
My name is Allie. I just became 14 years sober at the end of last month. Through the support of my family and friends, I got the courage to ask for help. And through treatment services and the recovery community, I was able to start my recovery journey. Now I get to work as a peer supporter and an addiction treatment navigator where I get to help the next sick and suffering. If you don't have family and friends that can support you right now, you can find those supports through treatment providers, the recovery community, and peer supporters like me. Every life matters, and your recovery is worth it.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson with you. Really excited about this segment of the show we've got to put on here. It is so great when an organization is able to talk about somebody in their community or in their sphere, in their world, that's important to them, and they're still around to celebrate it. I'm pleased to say that that's the case here. The Bremen Area Historical Society, coming up here in just a couple of weeks, and we'll detail all that for you. They do great exhibitions out there. Over the years, they've done great things in there. It's fun to just go in and look around. If you're a Bremen person who love that kind of stuff, it's right up your alley. But they're going to do a new exhibition coming up here in a couple weeks on Bob Trocchia, who I would say has probably done more and has been engaged with more young people in Fairfield County than anybody else in the history of music in this county. So it's a pleasure to have with us today on my far right, Bob Trocchia. Bob, welcome.
Thank you, Paul. Good to see you.
Pleasure to have you here, brother. Always is.
Thank you.
And Cinda Thomas, who is the
Chairman
of the Bremen Area Historical Society. Wonderful place out there. Love going out there and seeing over the years plays and just looking around. It's just a wonderful place. Very excited
about this exhibition. A, because it's a wonderful thing to salute Bob and the things he done, but I've known Bob for a fair number of years, and it's so well deserved.
Well, thank you, and I agree. It is well deserved. And we are going to be opening on September the 12th on Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
And we are opening it in conjunction with the Fairfield Union Music Alumni Association third annual marching band week.
Wow.
So that way alumni coming back will have the opportunity to come and see this exhibit. We are also extending hours that week, so anybody who is coming in has a chance to come in and take a look at this exhibit that we're doing.
And Bob, how humbling is this
Well,
to you, to just your many years there, and now you've been away from a while, but not forgotten?
well, I don't know how to describe that. I know that's unique, and it truly is humbling. And I got to say before we go further that Cinda, her history's a little bit more varied than just as the director of that museum, which has been a treasure. She's come back home and taken that job and done a lot for it, but she was one of our outstanding. This gal sang in opera companies around the country, taught on the collegiate level. She had a great career herself. She's one of the alum.
Maybe someday we'll have the exhibition on her, huh?
Yeah, it could have been, except I couldn't have organized it.
Well, I'm just so happy when things like this happen and the person that's being memorialized is around to see it, because so often this is done posthumously.
Right.
You know, you do stuff later, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great, but I'm so glad that this is around when you and Carol and your kids can still see this, and it's just a very exciting time.
Thank you. It certainly is.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
I can't imagine how many boxes you've opened up, how many pictures there must be of bands, of choral groups, of individuals as events around here. You've dusted off quite a bit of things to open this up.
Well, there are thousands, I would say, of photographs and documents, and it's going to be a little bit challenging weeding out
Sure. What makes the cut and doesn't.
What's going to go in the exhibit. But Mr. Trocchia did about a year and a half ago donate a lot of items to the museum, and when I realized that he has a birthday coming up in December, and this year he also published his third book, and we have the Alumni Association having their marching band week, I thought, well, this is time. Now's the time.
Good for you.
To do this. And so I asked him about it, got his permission, and here we are. It's going to open, soon. So lots of work yet to do, but I'm very excited to show his history because it is remarkable. From Brooklyn, New York, down here to Ohio, jazz musician, professional musician, and then into teaching, and his dedication to all of us in Fairfield County. It's so impressive. It's amazing. And then to come back and being a former student, and then coming back and having this opportunity to sit and talk and reminisce is just unbelievable.
Well, I'm with Cinda Thomas, who is the chairman of the Bremen Area Historical Society, who on September 10th will open up the doors down there, and their exhibition will be on Bob Trocchia, kind of the legendary things he's done at the Fairfield Union Schools. And Bob, what was your first year at?
1957.
Bremen. It was Bremen.
Bremen. There's just so much to be said about that. First of all, I want to say that it was just remarkable because there was a consolidation of Bremen, Rushville, and Pleasantville, and we actually had the consolidation formed. Most people think of Ike Kelly, they think of Bremen, but that last year in the Bremen High School, we actually were formed as Fairfield Union. We just didn't have a school yet.
Yeah.
And so, although he was playing at Bremen, Rush Creek Memorial High School, it was actually the first year of Fairfield Union. He's in Fairfield Union's Hall of Fame. And we had such a forward-thinking Board of Education at that time. Mr. Rolls, Mr. Dave, Mr. Smelson, Mr. Howdy Show, all of those guys. And they did such a grand job that it enabled us to start planning a year ahead of time. And of course, all these people in Rushville and Pleasantville who had never had a football band, they were so excited they'd had bands. But we started a Music Boosters a year before we were in that school. And the first year we were together, we were the largest band in the county, just by virtue of having 3 pretty good programs, 2 of which hadn't had marching bands before. So it just took off. It just took off. And all the ingredients were there. Supportive Board of Education enthusiasm, kids that were eager to do well, better than they'd been able to do by themselves. And so I honestly feel like I came there disappointed because I'd been a frustrated professional musician. I couldn't travel any longer. I was married, and I just thought, this doesn't work, and what am I going to do? And I came to Bremen, and never did I have 1 second of further thought. It was just came like that and took off.
Well, it was just as you say, a perfect storm of events that occurred to make this just work out. And what was 75?
Oh no, 73. We
73.
just celebrated.
I didn't make it that much difference. My fault here.
We just celebrated our 50th high school reunion.
So,
yes.
Are your times when you think about being back with Bob Trocchia, those were probably wonderful times for you as somebody that loved music like you do?
I don't think I could have made it through high school without the music program, because I was in the band, I was in the assembly singers and chorus, and
traveled everywhere.
Oh, yes, and it really made such a difference. It did.
She was a majorette in the band, and she was my best soprano, and she went on to sing, as I said, in opera companies around the country. But I remember her dad was a great athlete and a good friend, and I went to see him when she made majorette, when she first was eligible, and kind of dropped that little hint. I said, let her tell you and be surprised, but you're going to have a happy little daughter tonight.
Yeah, when Dad was so proud, probably couldn't get his head out the door, probably.
Probably.
Wonderful.
Those enabling all those things and being a part of all those things, I never wanted to teach. My mother had been a teacher, and I kind of resisted it, but the superintendent of Bremen when I came there was Mr. Harry Appler. And I remember when he hired me, he knew what I was going through, and he said, I replaced a man who was legendary in Bob Dowling, which helped this thing take off because all the schools had a good history in music. And he told me, I know how you feel about things right now, but he said, you'll find out if you are a teacher and you stay in a community, he said it may be one of the most rewarding things you can do with your life. And that alone makes me remember him quite often.
Yeah. So how long will this run? From September 10th to?
Well, it's going to open on September 12th. And it will run through November 11th.
Oh, nice.
And as I mentioned earlier, the museum is typically only open on Tuesdays and Saturdays from 10 to 2 for this exhibit. And because of the alumni band, we're going to be open that week, extended hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 10 to 3. And then we'll be back to our regular schedule after that. But we're really excited to put this together and to recognize really, our beloved teacher, musician, conductor, friend.
Bob, when you think about, I imagine you've had to pull out a lot of pictures here over a lot of years, and you've probably done some. It's probably, as Cinda said, some things just won't make the cut. You just don't have room for everything. But I bet your archives are unbelievable.
I don't know what we're going to do. Fortunately, the superintendent of the schools has promised, and I have 3 tubs, large plastic tubs, full of, one is just full of letters. There are letters from the President of the United States, his wife, when Lyndon Johnson was here, you remember, we were selected to do that. Yeah. And the bands and choirs really did achieve historic significance.
Traveling you did.
Our band was second in the nation twice by competition. Our choir was, I think there were 10 regions or something like that in America put together in competition that lasted months, and we won this Midwest region. It's one of the top choirs in America, and so we achieved really a lot of significant goals, and it's just trying to compile that and capture that must be a task, but I'm along for the ride on that too. I was along for the ride the first time, and I'm along for the ride the second.
It's a good ride.
Yeah,
You're going to
it's
enjoy
definitely a
it.
good
It's been
ride.
good to now, and it's going to continue. So Cinda, I imagine tons of and now I'm sure Bob has seen tons of students over the years. There's been no doubt every time they come to town, they would look up Bob and Carol there in Bremen. But I would imagine now that the amount of singers, assembly kind of singers, band people will be coming back. Going to be a lot of people coming in that haven't been here for a while.
I hope so, because this is just really just such a remarkable event. And he has done so much for so many of us that, yes, I foresee a lot of people coming through.
The first one of these marching band alumni ball, they brought people from coast to coast, two from Alaska. There were hundreds of kids came back from all over the country, and it was just absolutely amazing. The FUMAA, Fairfield Union Music Alumni Association, has organized this, and so there will be a lot of kids there. But they're all kids to me still, but
Sure.
they're from all over.
Well, I'm sure they're all over the world too. I'm sure, and not only around, obviously Ohio. We know them from all over the United States, and I'm sure these people have, and many have gone on. Some, obviously, everybody doesn't go on to be a professional musician or that's their field, but many have, and I'm sure you've talked to many who got their start at Bremen, at Fairfield Union, and
a week ago, a young man stopped by Bremen, Chris Hoffman, lives in the Netherlands. I'd seen him since he graduated from high school, and asked me if we had I missed him, I was on the phone, on a Zoom thing or some kind of a thing like that, and so Carol told him, when she told me who had come to the door, I went to his house and found him, met his beautiful family, learned about his life, we reconnected, and that kind of thing is just a regular happening, and I think of Superintendent Appler every time that happens.
again, you never know. Again, the perfect storm. I was just talking to the young man on the last week's show. The Salvation Army is going to be moving from where they've been for many years up to the Golden Corral, and how many events just fell into place. It's not luck that things like this occur.
Things are. I've become, let's just say, I don't know if I was religious when I was a young person or spiritual, but those things are directed or ordered. You can't convince me otherwise, because I just fell into it all.
Yes. Well, you've done a lot more since you've fallen into it. You've helped it along.
We worked together, we don't talk about the corral.
I know that.
That was
those are great times, and we didn't even mention the Lancaster Corral. Another wonderful time in your life. I mean, there's probably not much in Lancaster and Fairfield County in music that he hasn't touched. So what a pleasure for you to kind of put this together and see all this through.
It is. I am just very excited, and it gives me more opportunity to spend time with him and to hear more stories, because I really feel that the stories are just so significant, and just what he means to people and his former students, because he's done so much. And it's great to have that opportunity to recognize that.
Well, it's just a wonderful thing. September 12th.
September 12th.
Is that a Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
And it's going to go on through
November 11th.
Okay, so you got some time to get there, but don't put it off. Get there early, and go back, because you probably won't be able to see everything on one trip. But Bob, this is just a wonderful trip down memory lane for you. It's just going to be remarkable. I'm glad you and Carol can enjoy this. Thanks to you, Cinda, for putting this together. It's a moment.
I think they're counting down my clock for me, because that birthday she referred to in December is 90. Blessed in that way too, to still be able to do as much as I can do.
It's remarkable to see this. Clean living is paid off.
We were working together.
Clean living is paid off for you, Bob. I can see that. But Bob Trocchia, Cinda Thomas, who is the chairman of the Bremen Area Historical Society down there. September 12th is when this all goes. So best of luck. It's going to be pretty amazing with all the events that, as you say, are working around this. Again, it's all coming together just in a nice fashion. So congratulations on you for putting this together. Bob, thanks for what you've done for Lancaster and
Thank you,
Fairfield
Paul,
County.
very much.
Yeah. Two good folks here with the Bremen Area Historical Society and putting this all together for Bob Trocchia beginning September 12th. Get down there to Bremen and see it if you can. Thanks for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.